Today's inspiration point, Seattle, Washington.
My name is Colin Hare, and I'm hitting the road to meet some of the most incredible artists out there.
Another flight down in another city.
And they are taking me to the locations that inspire them the most.
Nice. I'm in Seattle's International District. This is a moment of truth, yeah?
It's going to be a journey like no other.
It's pretty special, my friend. I can see why it's inspiring.
This is Inspiration Point.
Today, I'm in Seattle's International District, where I'm headed to the Wing Luke Museum to meet with Shin Yu Pai, host of the podcast 10,000 Things. It's within the museum's artifacts and objects that she found her inspiration.
The Wing Luke Museum has been really important to me because I grew up in a place in Riverside, California, where a couple of years after I was born, the Chinatown that had been in existence there for 60, 70 years was basically destroyed and razed to the ground, and there were no artifacts or kind of like marker of what that place was in the community. So coming to Seattle to encounter this place, I think it for the first time really helped me to understand that those stories and histories were so very much worth preserving.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey there.
Great to
Good
see
to
you.
see you. Great to meet in person finally.
Yes.
It's an awesome little place, this neighborhood. Tell me about this museum.
We are at the Wing Luke Museum, which is a Pan-Asian immigration museum that's existed since the 1960s. And this is its third location. In 2008 or 2009, this building was renovated over a long process to be able to house the museum as a place where people could come and see their communities and their cultures reflected to them.
This museum for you has a personal element to it, right?
Absolutely. When I first came to Seattle in 2007, I began studying museum studies at University of Washington, and this was one of the places where I got to learn about how you process collections and you prepare them for putting them on display. I'm going to take you over to the Yik Fung Mercantile, this historic space where I got to help catalog some of those materials, and we'll take a look at what they've got.
Let's see it. When you say mercantile,
it was an import-export store that had been in the neighborhood for about 100 years, and it belonged to the Mar family, which is a Chinese-American family that was here in the community, and they donated all of the objects that were in the store to the museum, which wanted to create a sort of historical recreation of what would have been one of the businesses that existed here in the neighborhood serving the different immigrant communities.
This is like a time capsule.
Just like a time capsule.
Let's check it out. Yeah, love it. Tours only. I get my private tour, huh? Oh wow. It feels like a general store, right?
Yes.
That you walk into and anywhere.
It's a general store where people who are new to the neighborhood, new to the country could come to be able to find foods from their cultures of origin, things that would be familiar tastes of home. So some of the things that you see here, sauces and preserved fruits, vegetables, Chinese herbs, these are kind of things that Chinese immigrants would be familiar with.
When you were in charge of and did some of the cataloging for here, like what was that process like to go through and make sure you represented well?
There had been historic photographs taken of the Yik Fung Mercantile before it was dismantled, and so the people that were working on the exhibitions basically recreated the store based on the historic photographs that existed.
So this really is like taking a step back in time.
Yeah, absolutely. Like these brands may not even exist anymore, or they've probably like updated their branding and their design, but these food items have to be from decades ago if you look at how things have been faded by the sun and by time.
I mean, this is the OK brand. It's not great.
It's just okay.
So it's just okay. Part of my lineage is Italian, and so I can imagine my great-grandparents coming, and they live in a little town north of Chicago, and it's like this little Italian enclave.
Yeah.
And it's like they had that place where you went and you got your all your stuff, and so it's similar to that.
And you could speak Italian.
You could speak Italian.
You didn't have to speak English.
It was your place.
Exactly.
I love it. And then we got a little cash register here.
Yeah, pre-digital.
I want to touch it. I know it says please
Yeah,
don't
don't
touch. But
touch.
I don't want to touch it. It's a museum still. Going through all of this stuff and cataloging it, what struck you? Like, what do you remember about that time? Was it something that was just a daunting task, or was it a fun little discovery? Like,
I remember just how struck I was that by like these ordinary objects like cans of food or old teacups, like these are totally the kinds of things that I would find in my immigrant parents' home. And my parents are from Taiwan, so they have a different history than many of the groups represented here.
Sure.
But it just had this feeling of like the everyday artifacts of my particular, sort of cultural orientation or group. Having a place in a museum like mattering, and I think with that it kind of like raised questions around kind of like what are the stories of some of these objects, and who would have bought them, who would have used them, and it kind of planted the seed, I think, of the way in which I've become interested in thinking about objects in my own work creatively. An object or an artifact is a world in and of itself. These things that seem ordinary, but like when you apply the poetic imagination to an everyday object, I think there are all kinds of things that can be illuminated about the beauty of its use in the world and how people experienced or interacted with it.
I can put myself here, like what an everyday, people coming before work maybe, popping in, or then coming back after work, or at the end of the day, like kids in tow, potentially, the whole thing. And I can imagine this place in full life.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very cool. All right, well, I want to go, if it still exists, if it's still happening, to the place where you wore the white gloves, had the pencil, made the tags and the markings. Is that still a room?
It should be.
Yeah?
Yeah, it should be, because they still accept collections here and maintain the things that come on and off of display. So we'll go upstairs in the building.
I want to see where it all began, and when was the last time you think you were in there?
2009.
All right, let's see if you remember the way. So this is the part of the museum that most people never let me. Because I
For that reason. So it's the collection storage area where all kinds of objects ranging from like religious objects and icons to housewares, kitchenwares and old appliances, and just things that people would have lived with in their households. Maybe they had some kind of utilitarian purpose.
Did your parents ever donate any of your trophies to a museum? Because mine did not, for me.
Definitely not.
I feel like I see things that are in the mercantile now, right?
Absolutely.
So things similar to what you dealt with. Like there's a typewriter here, and we've got things that I'm not sure what they are. There's a cash register right here, huh?
That is a cash register,
Yeah.
yes, exactly.
So I can see how it's still here. 15 years later, the everyday is still here.
As a remnant of, perhaps a business that was, very active in the neighborhood.
Right.
I really love this bingo cage, which I can imagine, being used in like a community hall.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. Down here in the kind of the back rooms of the museum, is this kind of where the inspiration for the stories of artifacts came from?
I think it kind of planted the seeds in those years of beginning to think about why people collect or hold on to the objects in their lives that they do, and what those things can say about, not just a person's personal values, but their cultural values, as well as like the moment in history when these objects existed.
So we've seen the mercantile, we've seen the back rooms here that I shouldn't be allowed in, but now I want to see what it's all turned into for you.
Sounds good.
Let's
go upstairs.
So this is the 10,000 Things exhibit.
This is an exhibition that is related to an audio story series that I used to make for the public radio station that I now make independently.
I've listened to it. I know the cooker. I've heard that episode.
Yes, there's an audio story about this Tatung rice steamer, as well as this bronze vessel that has water collected from the Ganges River in it. Over here in the first season, there was an audio story I made about Etsuko Ichikawa, who is a glass artist who infuses these glass orbs that she makes with uranium.
Wow, uranium? Those are amazing.
Which she bought on the internet. Yes.
When I think about everyday objects, that's not that's not on the list. That's pretty amazing.
Right.
I didn't know you could buy uranium.
Yes, you can.
Wow.
This is a bathtub from a Sears catalog that was used to bathe an infant, and it belonged to the Miyahara family. And a kind of companion piece that goes with it is a bonito shaver that was actually made with materials in an incarceration camp. So we have some historical objects here that tell stories about a very dark period of history in America.
To pair these with
Right.
the truly everyday, just in a household, normal household, is an interesting juxtaposition. Yeah, that's something else. And then we have this phone. What's the story here?
So this phone is actually a recording station. So you pick it up and you follow these prompts and you tell me a story about an object that has had personal significance in your own life and why you've kept it, what's important about it. And at the beginning of next year, we're going to refresh some of the items in this exhibition and rotate some things out. So we listen to these stories, and we do that with the idea that we may be able to capture more stories from the community that are worth telling and sharing.
So it progresses.
Yes.
This idea continues, and it's going to continue to grow. And
Yes.
I think it's very cool. Backing way up, standing here in this room now, which is kind of the culmination of years of work, right?
Sure.
And thinking also about your time here in 2008 and 2009, it's kind of put you on a path, no, of appreciating the stories of these objects. It's kind of been that inspiration point, so to speak.
It has changed me in a deep way. A place like the Wing Luke Museum has really helped me to realize that the everyday stories of everyday people, they matter and have a place in, the creative imagination.
I agree, those stories matter. The everyday person, the everyday object that person owns, we all have stories, all our families have stories, and they're worth telling. So I appreciate you for doing that, and I hope there's 10,000 more things to come story-wise. And thank you for showing me your place of inspiration.
Thanks for coming. Inspiration matters not just for artists, but it matters in the sense of giving us a reason to be alive. It's, very close in spirit to the importance of curiosity. And I think is maybe a level deeper in that it is about a kind of engagement to do something with what you are curious about. And for me as an artist, that's why I'm alive.